Can Fido be in the listing picture? Hey there, everybody. I was just curious. I was reading some realtor-related things, and there was an article about putting your pet in your listing pictures. I thought that'd be a good topic today. For those that don't know me, my name is John Schenk, and I am the founder and managing broker of Deerwood Realty here in St. Louis, Missouri. We're a small brokerage. We work mostly St. Louis County, St. Louis City, Jeffco, and St. Charles County. But yeah, that's what I do in the afternoons and the weekends, and during the mornings now I work on my podcast. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, so there was this article, and let me bring it up to you. It's titled, "Home Sellers Are Putting Pets in Listing Photos and the Internet Can't Resist. Buyers May Be Another Story." And I'd actually looked this up a while ago today, actually, this morning, because I was curious to see if anybody had written about it before. I want to get the book, How to Have Impossible Conversations, because it's fascinating when you're a broker and you go on listing calls. If someone said, "Hey, can I have my dog in my listing picture?" I would say no. You don't want your dog in your listing picture, and here's the reasons why. But I don't know that person, and so I'm just giving them my answer. And it's happened to me quite a few times where somebody will ask me a question and I'll answer it the way it should be answered, but they're not looking for they're not looking for that answer. They're looking for the answer that they want. And so, just to start off, I don't hate dogs, I don't hate cats, don't hate birds, don't hate lizards, any pets, monkeys, whatever you have. Don't have a problem with any of them. Putting them in a listing picture is a little bit different for me. But let's go through this article. It's by Leslie Cook, and it's in money.com. I'll put a link in the description below. It says, "The internet is chock full of pet memes and photos because, let's face it, people can't resist a cute furry face. So it's no surprise that some home sellers and real estate agents have taken to including their pets in their listing photos." So, people are putting their pets in their photos, and it says, "But is having your pet in your listing a help or hindrance when it comes to selling your house? When you put your home up for sale, you want to make sure it's presented in the best light possible. The more attractive it is to the greatest number of potential buyers, the higher probability you'll get your home sold quickly. Including pets in your listing photos has its pros and cons. If you have any doubt, your real estate agent can help guide you. They'll know what does and doesn't work in your market." And then you can see here a nice little cute picture of a dog, and it's good stuff. Okay. So here's the ways it can help your listing, which I don't think it can at all, but it says it does get the listing more attention, more shares, more social interactions when you share it. When people are sharing your listing on social media, it's helpful. Now, who's it helpful for? Is it helpful for you as the seller, or helpful for the real estate agent? They got something that they post on social media that actually got some traction. That'd be a question. So, a California home that featured a small dog in every listing photo was featured on the popular Zillow Gone Wild Instagram and TikTok accounts, and went under contract in just 2 days, despite $1 million asking price and a listing copy that described the place as dated. So, when did this sell? Last month? You could have a dead body on your carpet and a picture of it, and somebody would buy your house in this market if you price it even close to right. And we're talking about California, so 1.2 million in California. I mean, it's not the Midwest. So that's that. And so you can read that quote, and then it says, "While including your pets can bring an element of fun and whimsy to your listing, it doesn't mean you should put Rex in every single photo. For Baker, who puts photos of dogs in almost all her home listings, the photos have to look natural. She'll usually have the dog on the master bed, on the couch, or in the living room. She'll include just 1 or 2 photos with a pet. Having too many pictures she said is overkill. I don't want to have a picture of a dog on a bed on a listing photo. And then what's fascinating is, and we'll get to this later, is it says you also want to be careful about what pet to include in the photo. Baker notes that small dogs seem to evoke the best reactions. Cats and large dogs, on the other hand, can give the impression of being smelly, which is a turnoff for some potential buyers. And that goes into how including a pet can hurt your listing. So it says, while the use of pets in marketing a home seems to be on the rise, not quantifiable, there are still plenty of real estate agents who recommend against putting Fluffy in your home's listing. You want it shown in the best possible light. This means your home should be decluttered and depersonalized, allowing the potential buyers to imagine themselves living in the space. And that's definitely key. When you're putting your house up for sale, you might as well make the mental break that it's not your house anymore. That will be helpful to you. And as such, you want to paint it as, when people walk in your home, when buyers walk in your home, you want them to believe that they're going to live there. And so photos in general are manipulated by real estate agents. I mean, we can add Coke bottles now. We can add anything we want to. But under in St. Louis, under SLAR, you have to show a picture unedited first. That's a requirement in the MLS. But you can certainly add, they call it virtual staging, so tables, chairs, and rooms that don't actually have them. I don't typically do that right now. Market's really, really hot anyway. I don't know why you would need to. So that's the article. Like I said, I'll leave a link to the description below. And so, I have questions, I have some thoughts, and I just wanted to go over them with you. And so here we go. So my first question is where's the line? What else are we going to put in the listing photos? And I know it seems weird, but you're trying to get the most number of buyers to see your listing, and people put all kinds of things. People in our area used to put a Bigfoot picture in each of their listings, and that was cute. But I don't think it got them more listings, and I don't think it sold the house for more. While you want to get your house listing in front of the most possible buyers, a gimmick to do it doesn't necessarily work. There's not someone sitting out there that's not already looking at houses that says, "Oh, because you have a dog in your picture, I'm going to buy the house." Now, in the article, it says there is somebody that said that. When people say things, that doesn't necessarily, they're trying to be nice. I really bought this house because of the dog in the picture. That's really why I bought $1 million house. And if you believe that, then good for you. But it doesn't work that way. So, one of the things I didn't realize in real estate when I first started is on the disclosure, there's an actual question, at least on our disclosures here in Missouri, or at least for the St. Louis Association, that say how many pets have lived in the house and when. And I always thought that was kind of like, that's awful intrusive. Like, what's it your business that we had a dog or a cat in the house? And it turns out that people are highly allergic to cats and dogs. There's some people, the pet dander just drives them absolutely crazy, and they really don't want to or really can't live in a house that has had pets. And so that's that. So now you've got a picture and a cute little dog on the couch, and the people that are, looking at the pictures are just in horror that they don't even want to have anything to do with the house now. So I don't see that as being much of a benefit. So then I wanted to tell you my own experience about walking through listings hundreds of thousands of times at this point. It's been a lot. So this isn't a criticism, but people live differently. We have all different thoughts of what we find acceptable and what's not acceptable. But when you have buyers that don't know anything about you and they're going to your house and they walk in the house, and there's a terrible smell. It smells like wet dog. That screws up the listing. People will actually say, I don't want to live in this house. I don't want to even be in this room. It smells like a wet dog. Throw in the fact that some people think it's a great idea to keep their air conditioning at 80 on a hot day, and it's just terrible. It's one of those things I like to call a shower day. So if I go to a listing and when I leave, I immediately just want to take a shower. That's not a good sign for the listing now. That's just me. But I've had numerous buyers tell me that they just want nothing to do with the house because of the dog smell. And there may not even be a dog kennel, or they may have taken the dog out for the showings. But it's disgusting, and the smell is terrible. In fact, this past weekend I was at a house. There were two houses. Buyers chose between two. Both had dogs. One they put an offer on, one they didn't. And the one they didn't put an offer on, the people had a huge dog, and they let it lay on a couch down in the basement. And it was the only thing in the it was the only thing really in the basement, and it just stunk. It was just stunk nasty, and it just ruined the listing. So, as a real estate agent, when you're talking to people when they want to sell their house, if they say, "What should I do about my dog?" I normally tell them, hey, make sure the dog's clean. Once had a listing for cats, at least. Cats do the hairball cough up on the ground. I once had some cat do that in one of my listings before showing, and it was just like, wasn't good. So that's my own experience. No pets seem to make for a better showing, but and then the last thing I want to say is that that people are searching Zillow all the time, and it's not just for pet pictures. It's actually a hobby to look at the home listings, and many looky-loos have no intention of moving and buying a new home. And so one thing you might be tricked by is somebody sitting there and they're looking through Zillow, or they put it on Instagram or something, and it's gotten a lot of views. But those are views as novelty views and not views as somebody that's actually a home buyer. So, I look at Zillow all the time. I don't have a problem with Zillow. Some real estate agents think Zillow is just the devil, but I don't share in that. I think it's great to be able to go look at listings in places I'll never be able to buy. Like, I'm not, Palm Springs. I like to see what's going on. Cape Cod, love to see what's going on there, but I'm not moving there. So, you kind of have to be careful when you equate. There's been a lot of views to a house or to a listing, and it's because of a dog. People look at a lot of things, and it doesn't mean that it's got anything to do with actually selling your house. And so, in today's market, it'd be, you can have a dog, you can have whatever you want. The house is going to be gone in a week as long as you price it right. But down the road, if things get tough and it turns into a buyer's market, then I would definitely recommend against putting your dogs in your listing photos, not because I hate dogs, but because I want the house to sell at its best price possible. So a little different one today. We went over real estate stuff, and we'll do that from time to time if I see something interesting I have an opinion on. And hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you on the next one.